So we are here to talk about monetizing your game, excuse me, how to market your game. I know which panel I'm on. How to market your game and different ways to get players into your game using tools that are related to Roblox, but also leveraging a lot of the social media and a lot of the other aspects that we have available to us in this day and age. And Tammy is our wonderful VP of Marketing and going to be helping us out to moderate this panel. So I will let her introduce who everybody is.
Thank you, Victoria. Hello, good afternoon. I hope you all got your wealth of snacks and you're all fueled up and ready to go for this next section of panels. So before we start out, number one, you guys have done all of the hard work. You've made these amazing experiences and they're out there on the platform. People are playing them. I would love to see a show of hands for those of you who have taken the next steps and have started to market your games. Can you just raise up your hands if you started to market your games? Good, a fair amount of you. That's great. So one of the things this panel, our objective here is to have a really good conversation. And at the very end, we're going to leave a lot of time for questions and answers. We want to make this as an interactive session as possible, so that we can share some tips with you in terms of how to bring more users into your game. To kick things off, I'd like to introduce our esteemed panel. So first off is Blockface Bob Alex. Alex is 20. He's been on the platform for almost 10 years. And then he transitioned to Roblox development with Blockface Steve. John. And they have been on the platform for 8 years. Together, these two are founders of Block Evolution Studios. The studio has amassed a total of 20 million plays across its games. And I love this little stat. This equates to around 742 years of total gameplay, or alternatively, enough time to brew 1 billion cups of tea. So everybody should be really well hydrated. They both met while studying robotics engineering at university and have enjoyed applying their technical and business knowledge to Roblox. Ricky, better known as Ricky the Fishy. Wow, okay, you've got some fans out there. Has released 2 big titles, Fish Simulator and Styles Makeover, amounting to over 32 million visits. He's currently working on releasing his next hit, Fairy World. Ooh, something I'd like. Putting together his technical knowledge and expertise on Roblox. So welcome to the panel. So we're going to jump right into it. Banner ads. So banner ads, I know many of you have started out with banner ads initially, building awareness for your games. Alex, can you dive into that?
Yeah, sure. The first point I want to make is good advertising doesn't feel like advertising. So you want to get users looking at your adverts and not really thinking about the fact that they're adverts. So a good way to do this is humor. So making people chuckle is a good way to draw away from the fact that they're looking at an advert. As you can probably see, but I can't, the next point I want to make is theme. So we've got a dinosaur game just here, and we're using a dinosaur-based advert. And this leads on to the next point, which is about a second CTR. So you have a click-through rate on your advert, which is how many people see the advert and click it. And the second CTR is once they've clicked that advert and they land on the games page, how many people then go on to click play? So a lot of clickbait adverts get a really high CTR to begin with, but then not a lot of people go and click play. So the key here is to get both those CTRs as high as possible. And unfortunately, you can't see a stat for the second CTR, so you have to sort of imagine at the moment. What was my next point? Oh yeah, so the next point I want to make is impression cost. So you may notice that sometimes it's much cheaper to get impressions. And you can take advantage of this. And when they're cheaper, you can buy more impressions. We'll get on later on to talk about how you can use that as part of a big strategy to improve your monetization. Okay.
All right, thank you. So we're going to get into the ads. And Ricky is going to share with us a little bit why advertising is a good thing. So we're going to dive right into it.
Right. So a lot of developers are probably worried about making that initial investment when you're first thinking about how much money you should put into an ad. But I think I can show you guys that it's actually worth doing. It's worth it. You'll see results and you'll see an uptake in revenue. So for my experiment that I did, I kept it consistent for a whole week, an experiment of 25,000 Robux a day, around the same time of day for 7 days, it's the same ad and a consistent click-through rate. And then on the second week, no ads, so just organic visits.
Ready?
And then for the numbers,
Ta-da!
as a result, we saw that on week 1, which was the advertised week, we saw about 100 to 150% more revenue compared to week 2, which is the week that didn't do any revenue. So just taking a minute to invest some Robux into ads consistently, you'll definitely see a result and make more money.
Right. So one of the things that's incredibly effective on Roblox, there's two ways users really become aware of the games on the platform. One is through a friend, that the best marketing vehicle, word of mouth. And the second is through YouTube or Twitch influencers. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking a little bit about this area as well. I'm going to turn it over to Alex and John to talk about that.
Yeah, so YouTube's one of the best kept secrets in marketing on Roblox, and we've used it extensively with our games. And one of the things is, quite often I see a lot of developers waiting for YouTube to sort of just happen. But when you're releasing a game and you want to make a big impact early on, it's really important that you make the connection to YouTubers. So you need to reach out by email, by Twitter, maybe Facebook. You've got to try all the avenues to connect with YouTubers and build relationships with them. And it's quite a disheartening process. It takes a long time, and we've got an email list about 40 names long, and not many of those will get back to you because I'm sure as developers you're fairly familiar with the flooded inbox conundrum. So when you connect with YouTubers, and once you've got one, there's a bit of a domino effect, and one YouTuber will often inspire other YouTubers to start making videos about your game. So, for example, we connected with one, and that YouTuber got 423K views, but then that expanded to over 4 million total views on YouTube, which provides some really good advertising impressions because it doesn't really get considered as advertising by the user. And often there'll be a game link in the description for you. So we can follow on to a case example. So when you build a relationship with a YouTuber, you can sometimes inspire them to start doing multi-part series. So for example, we got someone to cover Zoo Tycoon, and that provides long-term impressions. So over 5 weeks, we got 5 episodes. And towards the end of those 5 weeks, we released an update, and they saw an increase in view count because of the new content. So other things you can do to increase the effectiveness of this marketing strategy is when you're communicating with the YouTubers, you need to integrate promo codes that are specific to that YouTuber, and that helps increase the conversion of people who watch that YouTube video and end up on your game. So, for example, with this YouTuber, the player could enter a promo code. They would get in-game cash as well as a sign with the YouTuber's sort of icon on. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship for the YouTuber and for you because they get exposure in your game and you get exposure on YouTube and a really good connection between the two. And it went further from YouTube. It expanded onto Twitter, with the YouTuber inspiring their viewers to share screenshots inside our game of the players holding the signs, which you can see there. And then another final point to make about YouTube is when you're making your game, consider trying to make it YouTube ready. And ways you can do that is think about gameplay and make sure that you've got a consistent, constant action and try and have a wow moment where something crazy happens, because that's really effective for YouTube videos to make it easier for the YouTuber to produce exciting and interesting content. for your game.
Thank you. So, I want to spend a little bit of time here because I think it's such an effective medium. So when reaching out to YouTubers, they get, and so especially some of the top YouTubers, they get so much inbound requests. What have you found to be effective for getting attention in terms of when you're sending an email out? Have you used different subject lines that yielded more results?
Yeah, so you can play on the fact that your game is new, and certainly YouTubers like new content. They're always looking for the next thing, the next big thing that they can share with their subscribers. So saying that your game's new certainly helps. And if you're having trouble getting access to big YouTubers, start small and then include links to other YouTube videos of your game in that email, and then those YouTubers will be inspired to produce their quality content.
Alex, do you have anything to add to that? Or
That's
Ricky?
pretty much it. Yeah, just try
Great.
and push the fact that your game's new and upcoming, and they'll jump on that.
Great. So I'm going to turn it over to Ricky to talk a little bit about his experience on Twitch.
So Twitch is a really good way that you can get your content out, especially using the Roblox official Twitch. So you can actually reach out to Roblox through their different media and show them that your game exists and show them why they should play your game on the next level, which is the stream they do on Fridays. And that's a really good way to get the hardcore community players to see your game, see the gameplay by familiar faces, and actually want to play your game later.
We're going to talk a little bit about sponsored games, and I'd like to have Alex. I'm sorry?
Featured games?
Featured games, yes.
Yes. Oh, sponsor games. Okay,
Sponsored
I'm
games,
still
right
on
here.
the
Yeah.
Twitch. Okay. So yeah, this is an opportunity for developers to get their game up on the front page in amongst the top Roblox games, just by paying. So there's clear advantages of this. So also it doesn't show the likes dislike ratio. So if you, for example, had like a bad beta period, or your game was struggling a bit in the early days, and you think you've done some updates now and it should do better, you could start with a sponsorship, and people can't see the likes dislike ratio on the game page. Obviously can if they click through it, but that could help you. Do we have an image there?
Maybe that.
Yeah, so there's a little image, I think, on the right hand side there you can see, and I just want to outline, so using text quite bold to stand out, a quality image in the background, emojis in the game title can also help make things stand out on the game page. And also, as I was saying earlier about with the adverts, you got a second click-through rate here as well on the games page. So you want to make sure that people who are clicking on your, I think that's an icon, see the same themed game when they click on it. Otherwise, they're just not going to play. And make sure the quality is there as well on the games page.
Just a little shout out. Remember, if you're being featured on Xbox, they don't allow emojis. So, little side point there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add in terms of sponsored games tips?
I think it's really good because it puts you amongst top games, especially when you click onto top popular, where you find a large amount of traffic flow through that page looking for something new to play. And we'll also get on to later on towards the end about how this is really useful in an overall approach to marketing later on.
So social media, this is a very, very important one to talk about. There are definitely tips here.
So Twitter is probably the one that most developers use, and it probably has like the bigger reach right now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can make the best posts on Twitter so you can reach to the best audience and have the best engagement with it. So first of all, you would start with having catchy content. You can click on the next one. You want to have a composition that matches your game. So you obviously need to tell players that this tweet, there should be a direct correlation between what you write in your tweet and what your game is themed. Don't do something completely random or something utterly robotic that will not want someone to read and actually enjoy. And then next, you would follow up with having action. So you want to put the game link there where it's easier for players to just click the link and it'll go straight to your game. And then next, you want to give them some incentive to actually click the game and go play it. So this can be done in the form of promo codes. That's probably the simplest thing that you can implement into your game, and it's very effective. And then next, community interaction. So you want to have a sense of familiarity with your audience and with the other community around. So in this case, I interacted with the official Roblox Twitter, but you'll have the same effect if you interact with, let's say, your players, other developers, members of the community who you can make a relationship with and still interact it and intertwine it with your game content. So that's how you can create a really good post that'll get you the engagement. And then in this next slide, I have some case examples. So I have here an example from the Adopt Me team when they made their tweet out for their Valentine's Day. So you can see how they kind of use some of those methods to craft that tweet. And then you can see in the middle their results. And the same thing goes for the Island Royale team when they made their tweet announcing their latest update. You can see the results there.
Now, I know these numbers are a little bit small, but all of the presentations will be posted after RDC, so you can delve down a little bit into the details. So we're going to open it up to all three of you to talk about combining strategies and sort of winning opportunities for marketing. So let's start. Well, you know what? We'll start
With Ricky, I think.
I'll start.
with Ricky.
Yeah.
All right.
So first of all, you want to start your marketing on the Roblox page. That's probably the first thing that you'll do. So you'd start with ads, using the ad system, the sponsored games, and the featured sort. And then you'd want to move away from the Roblox page onto other media, and that's when you start getting into Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. So you want to make sure that you start out inside where it's the easiest and expand that to the outside platforms where you'll be able to drive engagement outside.
Yeah. So the data you've seen that's just coming up, I don't know, some of you might remember Zoo Tycoon very quickly shot up the rankings up to #2 spot on PC in the space of about 5 or 6 hours. And in order for you guys to be able to achieve that same effect, there's one thing that you have to really take into account, is that we managed to line up all of our marketing strategies to all appear and have their maximum impact all at the same time. So as Ricky was saying, you've got so many different tools at your disposal, and I'm sure some of you have got even more tools than we've mentioned today. So things like group shouts, Twitter posts, Twitch. If you bring all of those together at the same time, you get that maximum impact, and it all comes together with really good game player performance. Maybe Alex wants to talk a bit about timing those things up together.
Yeah, so a lot of these different things have a different turnaround time. So YouTube videos, they take time for you to reach out, time for the YouTuber to produce the video and upload it. So you obviously want to start doing that before you start doing a crazy Twitter posting spree, or start doing loads of group shouts or updating your images. So think about lining up everything, the final. So you've got the YouTube videos coming out, you've got content being updated, Twitter shouts, group shouts, all at the same time. And that's when, as you can see the graph there, things start to grow rapidly. So I think we waited until we had sort of 2 or 3 YouTube videos coming out, and they were starting to get bigger and bigger. And then we did about 3 or 4 group shouts, loads of Twitter posts, updated all the images, and the game just started to climb quite rapidly.
Do you guys have a secret sauce or a system that you can share with everybody for how to keep all of this in line and organized in terms of keeping everything together?
I think the core one is going back to my point about YouTube. If you can build a relationship with those YouTubers, you can ask them to potentially schedule their video for, say, Thursday or Friday. And continuing on with the theme about timing, we like to start building our game up and our player count on Wednesday so that we're really strong coming into Friday, because trying to climb through the rankings on the weekend is quite difficult because everybody's dumping money on ads. The games have already got large player counts, so it's very difficult to be noticed in quite what can sometimes be quite a confused atmosphere at the weekends. So starting early on Wednesday and slowly building up towards Friday and getting yourself into a good position will launch you for a really good, strong weekend. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys are all, as far as I'm concerned, VPs of marketing, because I think that you guys have such a great foundation for everything that you guys are doing just organically. You've got reach, and you've used vehicles that reach out to users, lots of users, to make them aware. And then you're using great frequency when you're collecting and managing all of your outreach in one central concentrated area. So you've got great frequency to those users. So kudos to you. I'm going to open this up because I really want to make sure that we make this an interactive session and also learn from all of you and hopefully your stories can help educate others as well. We're going to open it up to questions. If you could move over and start a line over where Victoria is, she's got a microphone there. Don't be shy. Come on up.
So about a year ago, a co-developer and I soft launched our game. Now it did relatively well. We hit a 600 player count at one point, but then the ads died and the game just completely went dead, and it was a buggy mess and whatnot. Well, about a year later, we're getting ready to launch our game again, but this time it's out of beta. It's completely polished. All the bugs are fixed, etc. What is your tip to me to basically launch the game again, get it noticed? Because this is our first game, so it's not like we have like much of a base to work with. What is your tip to basically get ourselves noticed, get our game launched, and begin building a platform for ourselves to start building other games?
Okay, I think timing is key, and doing everything. The key is to do everything and do it with the timing correct. So start reaching out to YouTubers, get them on side, start building some relationships with YouTubers. And as John was saying, I think John said earlier, you can reach out to a lot of YouTubers and you'll barely get any replies, and that happens early on. But you only need to get one or two on side. They'll produce videos and everyone else will follow, and you'll end up with a huge, we had some stats on one of our slides where we only had about 400,000 views on the initial video. But it expanded to about 4 million when other YouTubers picked it up. So I think YouTube is the key, but doing everything as well.
I want to add that you should make sure that your branding is consistent through everything. You want to show players that you have a whole new experience to what you had before. So make sure that your branding across everything reflects that so players can actually know it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Dave. Work here, but I figured I'd ask you a question because I had one. You've told us a lot about what we should do. My curiosity was, what should we not do? Like, what are the big no things?
I think, okay, going controversial, we're going to open up the topic about clickbait. So I think clickbait may initially yield some really good positive responses, and you may see the data and you think, well, this is going really good. Why don't I continue it? I think the issue is that we're moving into an era where Roblox is about your studio and your brand. And at the end of the day, you want these players to buy products from you. So there's got to be a trust there. And if you've lied to them with an advert, then how are they going to trust you that their products are going to be what they expect? So really try and be truthful. It may not yield the same results in terms of the numbers, but in terms of the effect that it has on your brand, really try and stay truthful.
I would agree with that. Thank you.
All right. I had a question regarding like the promo code you mentioned. Do you ever keep like statistics, like when someone enters in the promo code, does it save, okay, this person entered the promo code and like add a number, like add 1 to a total of how many people, and like do you ever use data such as that?
Yes, you can. If you use a game analytics module, you could tie that in with that. And what you can do to see sort of what ad was more effective is split different promo codes. Even if they award the same thing, just split them and have track which one got the best results.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. So I wanted to ask, so if I've had a game that's had over 200 players before in the past, but that game died quite a few years ago, and I'm trying to bring it back. So, or at least I shut it down a few years ago. So how would I market that game to come back? Because I've got fans that want it back, but I need to find a way to market that correctly.
I think you could certainly look at trying to do a complete rebrand. So reaching out, trying to get some new GFX done, so changing the thumbnail, changing the icon. You can also possibly put relaunch in the title, and some of your promotion and advertising can be pointing out that it's been completely refreshed and players should give it a second chance or a second look. Those are quite effective strategies.
Can I just say here as well, reaching out to Roblox. You've got Roblox dev relations team here, and they're reasonable. So yeah, reach out to them, and you can get your game in the feature sort, and maybe on Twitch, and that will really help because it's Roblox endorsed. So try that.
And our marketing team works very, very closely, hand in hand, with the developer relations group. So the social team that works under my team is happy to help wherever possible.
All right, thank you.
Hello? Okay. So, if you're, say, a small dev, starting out and trying to release a game, how would you be able to grab people, make people play the game, allow people to play the game, and make outreach?
I think starting small on YouTube is a good way to go, because it very quickly builds traction. Even if they've only got 4,000, 5,000 subscribers, if you can build that relationship there, you'll quite often inspire someone with 10,000 subscribers, and the person with 10,000 can subscribe someone with 100,000, and you get that exponential growth that way. And also investing in other strategies, but if you don't have the group funds to invest in lots of banner ads, certainly using Twitter to your effectiveness, getting involved in the Roblox Twitter community, using the Roblox dev, like hashtag Roblox dev tags, and also the hashtag Roblox will give you some good exposure. So there's lots of free marketing systems out there, and I really recommend exploiting those.
I want to add to that. Starting small with ads is always a good idea. You don't need to start out with 100,000 Robux on an ad. You can start with maybe 500, and you can use that to grow your revenue and invest more over and over, and it'll ultimately scale up to where you have a lot more to invest and a bigger outreach as well.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Roblox. You don't need a huge bank account to start. You can start with nothing. So yeah, good luck.
Okay, so right now we have we can sponsor and advertise on mobile and PC, but when it comes to Xbox, we don't have an option to do that. So when can we expect that, and what do you suggest we do in the meantime?
Klaus is going to answer that question for you.
Sponsored games on Xbox are a feature on our roadmap in the next year, probably a lot less than that.
Thank you, Klaus. Good timing.
Awesome panel. Thank you guys for all the great insights. One thing that I don't know if we covered was the role of your app, your Roblox store assets, your trailer, your screenshot, and your description. What have you guys found in terms of where is that, how important are these assets, and what are the learnings you've gotten from trying different approaches to it?
Good question. You guys want to go down the line?
So like I said, walking back to the keeping everything consistent, definitely making sure that when a player sees your thumbnail and they click to when they see your icon, then they click to your game and they see your thumbnail, it should be consistent. You shouldn't have a completely irrelevant icon and then a different thumbnail. It should be consistent so players know what they're getting into, and that will make them more likely into clicking. Like they see this is what I want, that's reinforced again, and it'll make them feel more trusting into playing your game and investing their time into it. So that's very useful. And as for video trailers, we haven't really found that video trailers make that much of a difference compared to traditional thumbnails. And it's a much higher investment, so I would suggest that you wait out until you grow more and try the video trailer.
Just a really quick one. The icons, something to do is just keep it simple. A lot of people try and cram, I know I did, I used to cram a lot of stuff into that tiny, tiny icon, when all you really need is sort of some background colors, maybe a bit of an image, and some text over the top to say, what your game is, or you don't even have to do that, just keep it really simple.
I think another thing is leave leave something for the player to be intrigued about on the game page. Don't give everything away. If they have a lasting question that they want to bring and find out about, they will find out by clicking that play button, which is the only thing that matters on the game page.
A useful tip also for using thumbnails, you should use those for when you make a new update, for example. So you'd advertise your update on that game icon, which is what is traditionally done, and then give a little more detail into what you updated, what new items you're using. Maybe if you're running a sale, show that off in your thumbnail as the first thumbnail that players see, so they get caught by that image.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw a question out to all of you. So we've covered a lot of different marketing techniques, strategies here. Is there anything that we haven't covered here? Hands? Yes. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so Slicks just pointed out to us that your community interaction is really important. So when people come to you with questions, you should certainly try and get that fed back to them, because community is really useful and it's a tool you can leverage time and time again to push updates in new games. So really maintaining and looking after your community is really important.
Yeah, tying that into your social media, like your Twitter, simply retweeting, quote retweeting a fan message, maybe explaining maybe a new feature or your rationale behind something, maybe teasing a new feature. Something like that will definitely show that you're interacting with the community, that you care, and your players will feel more valuable to spend their time in your game.
Yeah, building a community is very important, because if you release a new game that's similar in the future, you can re-market to those people very easily. It works very similar to how email marketing works. When you go and buy a product, your name goes on an emailing list and they'll email you back saying you might want this product, this product, and this product. And although it could be annoying, you can do it very similarly on Roblox. So by even using a studio, a group, because then people will join your group and then they'll see updates and they'll see you when you produce a new game and they'll come back and you won't have to run ads and spend money and go to the hassle of YouTube as well.
Do you ever cross promote each other's games? I mean, the Roblox community is such a tight family. Have you ever had success promoting one another's games?
Yes, definitely. The Roblox Twitter community is very powerful in that case. You can communicate with a lot of developers that you see around, and everyone kind of helps each other out if you just reach out to them. So if they see something cool, they might retweet it, they might talk about it, maybe they'll play their game and tweet about it. And that's a good way to get your engagement from other developers who have different audiences. And that also brings in new players from their own communities as well.
Great. Anybody else have, yes.
I'd like to know more about building traction before a game either releases or before a big update.
Okay, so to repeat the question for everybody else, one he wants to know is traction for building up awareness for a game before it even launches. Is that right?
Before, like, an update,
or before an update.
I think this is one for Ricky.
Yeah. So the easiest thing that you can do like that is tease out your content. So make sure that you're keeping up with your social media. Maybe if you're head of a group, you can slowly, maybe not reveal everything, but sort of show what you're working on. Have the players have something to look forward to. So show off your cool features and make sure that they can see what's going on, what to expect. And that kind of builds up the hype behind it. As that also works for new updates too, where they'll see it, they'll have it in their minds, and then when the game comes out, they'll want to go play it because they've already seen it and they want to go and learn more about it and engage with it.
Anybody else have any ideas or suggestions they want to share out with the rest of the group? Oh, sorry.
Have you ever done any viral marketing kind of things where you do something very strange to try and get your game promoted, maybe for release or something?
Did everybody hear the question? Yes. Oh, you have a nice voice, booming voice.
I don't think we've necessarily had anything individually viral, but what social media does carry a long distance. I find that, especially when you're trying to get your brand out there, Positive things about other people really goes very far. So saying this developer has done something really cool and people should check it out actually does travel, and everyone really appreciates that on the Roblox Twitter community.
Yeah, what you put out there generally comes back to you. So if you retweet people's stuff and say, "Oh, this is brilliant, check this out," and check this out all the time, those developers will probably see that, and they'll probably then retweet your stuff, and it builds.
Yeah, and also part of that, Roblox in general is a little, maybe you can say gimmicky. So doing something very simple, like maybe adding a funny character or a funny feature, can get you a long way. When players join the game, they see this funny thing, they record a video of it, maybe a GIF or something like that, and they tweet about it, they talk about it to their friends, and that's a good way to get exposure as it, scales up.
Okay. Yes.
Another thing I wanted to add was rewarding your players here and there. Every now and then, tweeting a code like, hey, type in this code for 25,000 gems or something, because it tells them that you as a developer care about them, and it makes them, it builds the bond between you and your community.
Nice. All right. Okay, so we have just a couple more minutes. Do we have a couple more minutes? Are we good? Okay. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, the don'ts. Can you share anything that you guys have done from a marketing perspective that you would advise people to stay away from?
I think one
Other than the clickbait?
Yeah, clickbait's always my pet peeve. But I think just trying one thing and then on its own doesn't necessarily return results, and then you might think going forward that little thing doesn't work. But our last slide shows that when you combine everything together, it really pays off. So even though it only gives you a small kickback, bring everything together, because small things add up to a big impact.
Yeah, we always find that we get a better click-through rate and more engagement on adverts compared to sponsored. But John is always really adamant that we should run sponsored as well, because it increases that overall exposure. People see the adverts, people see it sponsored as well, and then they'll see the YouTube videos and the Twitter, and it will be in their head all the time, and they'll want to figure out what's going on.
And if you're just starting out, you really don't have any money. What would be your suggestions for first going out?
I think obviously using and utilizing the free advertising methods like YouTube and Twitter, but if you can get your game into a profitable state, where the phrase we use is return on investment. So if you put a small example is if you put 100 Robux in on adverts, you should return at least 100, if not more, Robux from in-game sales from that marketing campaign. And as soon as you've got your game into a profitable state where you've got an ROI where you put, say, 1,000 Robux in and you get 5,000 out, you can then just start scaling that up. So 5,000 comes back, you invest that 5,000 all into adverts, and then you get 10,000, 20,000. You keep building until you've got yourself a profitable game that you can continue to market. So starting out small and utilizing the free methods to build players and get that initial capital that you can then use on marketing is really useful.
Excellent. Do you have anything to add? All right.
Just to remember that Twitter is free, Instagram is free, and telling your friends is also always free. So you don't need money to start out.
Yeah. YouTube's free, dev relations team, you can reach out to them for free.
And, our Roblox social channels will always give you love as well. So we'll always retweet you as well. Any other final questions before we end our panel? Oh, there's many over there. I'm sorry, I must be blind. Actually, could you come up to the microphone?
It's not really a question. It's something to add on to don'ts. Don't spam advertise your game on group walls, comments, places people regularly check. Cause I did it. The game I made got a bad reputation, got a lot of dislikes. Don't do it.
Good tip.
Knowing that, you get banned by the moderators if it's spam.
Yeah, with advertising, there are always limits, and only place your advertisements where you're allowed to.
Yeah, read the terms of service, please.
Please read the terms of service. Let me reiterate that. Thank you.
YouTube is a really great option for advertising games. It blew up my game tremendously. And I didn't even ask the dude to play the game or even do a sponsor spot. It just happened. But I would like to do that in the future. Do you guys ever pay YouTubers for a sponsored spot or just to make a huge full-on video of them playing the game?
One of the things we like to use is quite often we will use group funds and make a small payout to the YouTuber, but then in return we ask that they spend that money in our game to demonstrate our products to their viewers. So you're not paying out per se because the money comes back to you, but you can pay out a reward, although because it's a mutually beneficial system in that they're getting exposure and you're getting exposure, there isn't this requirement for there to be payments.
Okay.
So it's more of a two-part question. So the first part is, how do you precisely determine how frequently you should update your game? And then the second one is, what methods do you use other than switching your icon, switching your thumbnail, switching the title of the game, the description, and announcing it?
Ricky, do you want to?
Yes. So as
Hi,
for the
Ricky.
timing of how often you should update, I would say that you need to pay attention to your community about that. You need to see how the game cycle goes. So try out with one content update and see how long that'll get you. It really depends on the results you're going for as well with the update. Are you looking for more players, more money? It really depends on what you want and how you have to tailor your updates to that. Yes.
In terms of us, it's probably how fast we can do the updates, to be honest. We're always just working on updates. How often we should do that? Or
So when you update it, how do you raise awareness other than doing those kind of traditional methods?
Yeah, just making sure that you tailor your advertising and your marketing campaign for the new update. So highlighting the new features is really important.
So maybe reach out again to YouTubers, and get another one-off YouTube video made.
All right. So we've run out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much for participating. I think the big takeaway here is YouTubers are really important, right? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for all of your attention.